राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Welcome back to the fifth and final session of the Vrindavan of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
Dobrodošli opet na petu i zadnju sesiju Vrindavana Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
Lord Chaitanya has finally arrived in Vrindavan.
Gospod Chaitanya je konačno stigao u Vrindavan.
Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. And today we're going to do a whirlwind tour of chapter 18 of Madhya Lila.
I danas ćemo lepo pregledati 18. poglavlje Madhya Lila,
which is called Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Vrindavan.
koja se zove posjeta gospoda Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu u Vrindavan.
Now, these chapter titles were not supplied in the original Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Sad, u izvornoj Chaitanya Charitamriti nije bilo ovih naslova poglavlja.
I believe most of them were provided also not by Srila Prabhupada, but by his BBT editors.
Mislim da većina njih nije dao čak i Srila Prabhupada, nego njegovi BBT urednici.
But I think it's interesting the word visit is here because from an external perspective, that's what it was. It was Lord Chaitanya visiting Vrindavan.
Ali mislim da je ovdje interesantno da kaže posjeta, jer sa spoljašnje tačke gledišta to je bilo to, gospod Chaitanya posjećuje Vrindavan.
But who is Lord Chaitanya?
Ali ko je gospod Chaitanya?
What's his inner identity?
Ko je njegov unutrašnji identitet?
He's Krishna, he's Radha, he's... He's Krishna in the mood of Radha.
On je Krishna u raspoloženju Radhe.
And he's also Radha and Krishna combined.
I on je isto i Radha i Krishna zajedno.
That's explained by Swarup Damodar Goswami and quoted by Krishnadas in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
To objašnjava Swarup Damodar Goswami i njega citira Krishnadas Kaviraj u Chaitanya Charitamrita.
That Radha and Krishna are eternally one.
Radha i Krishna su večno jedno.
But then they separate for the sake of pastimes.
Ali onda se razdvoje radi zabava.
And then they come back together again as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
I onda se opet vrate nazad zajedno kao Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
And we might say, where did they come back together in particular in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
I mogli bi reći gdje su točno se spojili kao Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
In Vrindavan Dham.
U Vrindavan Dham.
Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. That's the whole theme of this whole festival, is always in Vrindavan.
Čitava tema ovog čitavog festivala je uvek u Vrindavanu.
And so the idea of this seminar has been to follow how Lord Chaitanya goes to Vrindavan and how he remembers Vrindavan, how he desires to be in Vrindavan.
I zato čitava ideja ovog seminara je kako gospod Chaitanya ide u Vrindavanu i kako želi Vrindavanu, kako želi da bude u Vrindavanu i seća se Vrindavanu.
because we understand our access to Vrindavan is only through Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
Jer mi shvatamo da je naš pristup Vrindavanu samo kroz Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
One of the themes we see in this chapter is Caitanya Mahaprabhu giving pleasure to all the living entities of Vrindavan, and all the living entities of Vrindavan giving pleasure to Lord Chaitanya.
Jedna tema ovog poglavlja je Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu daje zadovoljstvo svim živim bićima u Vrindavanu i oni daju njemu zadovoljstvo.
And the particular way that they give pleasure to each other is by darshana, simply by seeing.
Jedan određeni način koje jedno drugome daju zadovoljstvo je darshana, jednostavno gledajući jedan drugog.
Which is one of the major themes of the whole Caitanya Charitamrita, seeing the Lord.
Što je uostalom jedna od glavnih tema Sri Caitanya Charitamrite, vidjeti Gospoda.
And being seen by the Lord.
I biti viđen od Gospoda.
Okay, let's start with verse number 1 of chapter 18.
Počinjemo prvim stihom 18. poglavlja.
Vrindavane stiracharan nandayan svavalokanai atmanam chattaradokat gauranga parito brahmat. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu traveled all over Vrindavan and pleased all living entities, moving and non-moving, with his glances. The Lord took much personal pleasure in seeing everyone. In this way, Lord Gauranga traveled in Vrindavan.
Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu je obišao čitavu Vrindavanu i svojim pogledima zadovoljio sva pokretna i nepokretna živa bića. Gospod je osjećao veliko zadovoljstvo gledajući svakoga. Tako je Gospod Gauranga putovao po Vrindavanu.
Every chapter of Caitanya Charitamrita is with such a Sanskrit shloka.
Način na koji Krsna Ksetra Prabhu započinje svako poglavlje Caitanya Charitamrite je ovakvom sanskritskom šlokom.
In which he typically summarizes the theme of that chapter.
U kome uvek daje siže tog poglavlja.
This is one way to read Caitanya Charitamrita is to just read the first verses of every chapter.
Jedan način da se čita Caitanya Charitamrita je da samo pročitate prve stihove svakog poglavlja.
It's a quick review of the whole book, which is a very big book.
To je kratak pregled čitave knjige, a knjiga je veoma velika.
Okay. Now, yesterday we had this very nice sketch performed by devotees of Lord Chaitanya going to Arit Gram and discovering Radha Kund and Shyama Kund.
Jučer smo imali veoma lepi skeč kako su Bhakti gospoda Chaitanya, odnosno kako gospod Chaitanya otišao u Arishta Gramu i otkrio Shyama Kund i Radha Kund.
To the local people, these were just little puddles in a field, nothing special.
Za lokalne stanovnike to je bilo samo dve male barice u polju, ništa specijalno.
But to Lord Chaitanya, they were none other than the most important places in the whole universe.
Ali za gospodina Chaitanya bili su ništa drugo do najvažnija mesta u univerzumu.
And why are they the most special place in the whole universe?
A zašto su najspecijalnije mesta u univerzumu?
Radha Krishna Lila.
Radha Krishna Lila is going on there, yes.
Da, tamo se odvija Radha Krishna Lila.
They are very dear to Radha and Krishna as Radha Krishna together in their Madhurya Lila.
Veoma su dragi Radhi i Krishni koji su zajedno u svojoj Madhurya Lili.
Now, as we've followed Lord Chaitanya on his way to Vrindavan and in his attempts to go to Vrindavan, we are meeting Lord Chaitanya with different persons, and in this way we're meeting the Lord in different rasas.
kako pratimo gospoda Čaitanju, kako se trudi da ode u Vrindavan i odlazi u Vrindavan, vidimo kako se sreće s raznim osobama i kako se pojavljuju tu različite rase.
And now we're coming to the highest rasa. It's sometimes called Adi rasa.
I sad dolazimo do najviše rase koja se ponekad naziva Adi rasa.
Madhurya, which means also sweetness.
Madhurya, što isto znači slatkoća.
So here we are, we're coming to a place which is a very physical place. There's real physical water and real physical field.
Tako da ovdje dolazimo do fizičkog mjesta koje je baš fizička voda i fizičko polje.
And Lord Caitanya is identifying it. This is the place where the essence of the essence of the essence of this highest, sweetest rasa takes place.
I Gospod Caitanya prepoznaje i identifikuje to mjesto kao ovo je suština gdje se odvijaju najintimnije zabave.
Now, getting back to my little scheme I was explaining the last couple of days, we had this mandala with different rings, what I called circles of difference, of otherness.
Da se vratimo na moju malu prezentaciju, kako smo napravili tu mandalu koja bi se mogla nazvati šemom ostalih ili drugih.
Yes, rings, circles of difference, and
prsteni razlike.
I explained that Lord Caitanya is in the center of this imaginary scheme.
I rekao sam da je Gospod Caitanya u centru te zamišljene šeme.
Now, if we take this a little step further, and we've talked about sort of external differences. We were talking about other sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas, and then different other brahmanas, particularly Mayavadis, and then Shaktas. I didn't mention Buddhists, but in the same ring there's Shaktas and Buddhists and tribals. That's my scheme.
I onda, kako se ti prsteni udaljavaju od centra, tu smo smjestili u trećem prstenu pošto ovdje su bile uhvaćene različite sampradaje, onda je ostali brahmane koji nisu vajšnave, onda šakte, nismo spomenuli prethodnih dana budiste, koje su zajedno sa šaktama, i onda tu su isto ti domorodci.
Well, now we're going to the center of this scheme. Here's Lord Caitanya as Radha and Krishna in their most intimate place, Radha and Shyamakunda.
I sad dolazimo do samog centra te šeme, Gospod Caitanya kao Radha i Krishna na mjestu svojih najintimnijih zabava.
Okay, after this pastime of discovering Radhikund, then, as we also saw, Lord Caitanya goes to Govardhan.
Nakon što je prošao ovu zabavu otkrivanja Radhikunda, Gospod Caitanya ide do Govardhana.
He sees Govardhan. This is, emphasized. He's seeing Govardhan, darshan.
Naglašeno je kako on vidi Govardhan.
And as response to this, he's experiencing unmata, which means something, it's translated as madness, transcendental madness.
I kao reakciju na to što vidi Govardhan, on doživljava unmata, što se opisuje kao transcendentalno ludilo.
Or preme matta, the madness in love.
Ili ludilo ljubavi.
We have that expression in English, to be madly in love. You have this in Serbian.
Imamo te izraz biti ludo zaljubljen.
Yeah, so when there's something like that, then there's something like madness.
I onda se dešava određena vrsta ludila.
So now Lord Chaitanya's madness really comes out.
I sada ludilo gospoda Caitanje zaista izlazi na površinu.
And in his madness, when he sees Govardhan, what does he do?
I u svom ludilu kad vidi Govardhan, šta radi?
Anyone remember?
Neko se seća?
Embraces?
This is a rock.
Yes, he embraces a stone of Govardhan hill.
Grli jedan kamen sa brda Govardhan.
Now normally, if you would see somebody out here, you know, just finding some big rock and embracing a rock, you might think, what's wrong with that person?
U običajnim okolnostima, ako bi ovdje negdje vidjeli kako neko grli stenu neku, onda bi mislili šta nije u redu s tom osobom.
Now, going back to my scheme, there's these different rings of otherness, and we had as an outer ring animals and plants.
I sad da se vratimo na moju šemu, imamo te koncentrične krugove ostalih i na kraju su, na najspoljašnjem krugu su životinje i biljke.
For us, animals are very different from us. They're more different than human beings.
Za nas životinje su dosta drugačije, one su drugačije od ljudskih bića.
And plants are even more different.
A biljke su još različitije.
Animals, you may have some interaction with, some communication, some animals are domesticated like that.
Sa životinjama možete imati neku vrstu komunikacije, neke životinje se mogu pripitomiti.
Plants, they're more remote. We're not usually talking with plants.
Biljke su malo udaljenije, obično ne pričamo s biljkama.
And what's even more remote, you can say, is what we call in English inanimate objects, such as stone.
A ono što je još udaljenije je, što bi rekli, to su neživi predmeti, kao kamenje.
Or water.
Ili voda.
These are just, material things. You don't go talking with stones. But Lord Chaitanya does. Not only that, he embraces them.
To su neživi predmeti, obično ne pričate s kamenjem. Ali gospod Caitanya radi to, i ne samo to, nego i grli.
But not just any stone. He embraces Govardhan stone, and he explains why.
Ali nije to bilo koji kamen, nego kamen sa Govardhana, i onda on objašnjava zašto.
He explains why through the comments of the gopis.
To objašnjava kroz komentare gopija.
Hantayam madrir abala haridasa varyo yat brahma Krishna jarana sparasha pramoda manantanodi sahago ganayos tayoryat paniya suya vasakandara kandamulai. This is verse 34. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram, as well as their cows and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, very soft grasses, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respect to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan hill appears very jubilant.
Brdo Govardhan je najbolji bakta. O moje prijateljice, ovo brdo daje Krišni i Balarami i njihovoj teladi, kravama i prijateljima, pastirima sve što im je potrebno. Vodu za piće, veoma meku travu, pećine, voće, cveće i povrće. Tako odaje Gospodu poštovanje. Zbog dodira lotosovih stopala Krišne i Balarame, brdo Govardhan izgleda veoma radosno.
As we also saw yesterday, Lord Chaitanya was thinking, I'd like to have darshan of Gopal, who is on top of the hill, but I respect Govardhan hill by not stepping on him, and therefore what to do? Krishna makes arrangement for him.
Kao što smo juče vidjeli, gospod Chaitanya je žarko želeo da ima darshan božanstva Gopala koji se nalazi na vrhu brda Govardhan, ali kaže, zato jer poštujem Govardhan, neću da ga taknem stopalima, neću se popnem na njega, I onda Krishna uradi posebni aranžman.
Rumor is there's a threat. The Turks are coming, and so I was very happy to see how this was brought out in the sketch with what's little Krishna's name yesterday? Mihailo. Oh, Mihailo. Michael. Yes. Yes, how he became a deity and got carried. That was very sweet.
Baš mi se jučer sviđalo, baš je bilo slatko kako je mali Mihajlo glumio Krišnu i kako je nosio.
Yes. He was in the ecstasy of being stunned.
Bio je u zanosu, takav je bio taj simptome pokazivao skamenjenost.
So here we are in the midst of Vrindavan, but what's going on? There are threats of attack.
Ovdje smo usred Vrindavana, ali što se dešava? Jave se neke glasine da se sprema neki napad.
And in fact, there is a long history of not only rumors but actual attacks of temples, of deities in this area.
I to nisu samo glasine, nego tu već postoji neka istorija raznih napada na božanstva i hramove.
And so, one of the responses to this situation is that deities get moved around.
I jedan od odgovora na takvu situaciju je da se božanstva presele.
And some of the deities get removed from Vrindavan. This is after Lord Chaitanya's time. Get removed permanently to places in Rajasthan.
I onda posle vremena Caitanya Mahaprabhu neka od božanstva su trajno premeštena iz Vrindavana u Rajasthan.
So we have an interesting situation. Here we are in Vrindavan, the center of central places for Radha and Krishna, and the worship of Krishna sometimes has to go on in secret.
I ovdje imamo interesantnu situaciju, smo u Vrindavanu koje je središte svih središta, svega što se tiče zabava Radhe i Krišne, i vidimo da se ponekad obožavanje Krišne mora odvijati u tajnosti.
But hey, that was going on in the time of Krishna as well.
Ali hej, to se isto dešavalo u vrijeme Krišne.
Srimati Radharani, to rendezvous with Krishna, she always had to make secret arrangements.
Srimati Radharani, da bi se našla s Krišnom, uvijek je morala praviti neke posebne aranžmane.
So these, you could say, similar things are going on at the time of Lord Chaitanya and then the centuries after Lord Chaitanya as well.
I mogli bi reći da su se slične stvari dešavale i za vreme Gospoda Chaitanje, a i kad je on otišao isto.
There's a kind of interlude, and it's a little surprising to me. Krishnadas, for several verses, sort of stops talking about Lord Chaitanya to talk about Rupa Goswami.
Ovdje se ubacuje druga tema i Krishnadas nas iznenađuje i pričao nekoliko stihova pričao o Rupi Goswami.
Rupa Goswami has not yet arrived in Vrindavan.
Rupa Goswami još nije stigao u Vrindavan.
It's going to be many years later that what Krishnadas is describing happens.
Ovo što Krishnadas ovdje opisuje desit će se mnogo godina kasnije.
But what happens is that the deity is again moved off of Govardhan because again there's a threat, and this time it's understood in the same way. It's giving Rupa Goswami opportunity to have darshan of the deity.
I ovdje se dešava slična stvar, a to je da pod pretnjom od napada božanstvo se je opet premešteno sa vrha Govardhana, ovog puta da bi dao darshan Rupi Goswami.
Vrindavan is not just a wild forest at the time of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. There's one temple there of Harideva,
Vrindavan nije samo divlja šuma u vreme Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhua, odnosno njegove pojave. Postoji tamo jedan hram, Harideva.
This is a very ancient temple. Harideva is one of the deities considered to have been installed by who? You've heard from dear Krsna Maharaj? Vajranama, yes.
Možda ste čuli ovo od bir Krsna Maharaja. Haridev je staro božanstvo koje je instalirano od Vajranabhe.
And, let's see, let's put a point here. Okay, then Krishnadas describes how Lord Chaitanya is visiting different forests of Vrindavan, and he's going in a clockwise direction around Greater Vraja area.
Krishnadas Kaviraj opisuje kako Gospod Chaitanya posjećuje razne šume Vrindavana i ide smerom kazaljke na Sato, širim regionom Vrađa.
First he goes to Kamyavan, which is west from Govardhan.
Prvo ide u Kamyavan, koji je zapadno od Govardhan.
The greater area of Vraja is roughly, I would say, in the shape of an egg, with the narrow part at the top.
Šire područje Vrađe je, rekao bi, u obliku jajeta sa tesnim vrhom tesnim krajem na vrhu.
So he goes to Kamyavan, then he goes north to the top of the, let's call it egg for now, where there's a deity Sheshashayi.
Iz Kamyavana ide na sever, na recimo tako vrhu jajeta, gdje se nalazi božanstvo zvano Sheshashayi.
And then he crosses the Yamuna from the west side to the east side, and he goes to Shrivan and Lohavan.
I onda sa zapadne na istočnu stranu prelazi Jamuno i ide u Shrivan i Lohavan.
Then to Mahavan.
Onda Mahavan.
Then to Gokula.
I onda Gokula.
And then again he crosses the Yamuna to come to Mathura.
I onda opet prelazi Jamunu da ode u Mathuru.
There he goes to the house of one Brahmana who is referred to as a Sanodiya Brahmana.
Onda posjećuje kuću jednog Brahmana koji je spomenut kao Sanodiya Brahmana.
Sanodiya, I don't know what's the significance of Sanodiya Brahmanas, but they're presumably from some place called Sanuda or something.
Ne znam koje je značenje te reči, takvih Brahmana, ali možda su iz nekog mjesta zvano Sanud ili tako nešto.
From there, he goes outward from Mathura toward Vrindavan to a place called Akrura Tirtha. This is on the bank of the Yamuna.
Onda iz Mathura ide za Vrindavan do mjesta zvanog Akrura Tirtha.
And we'll be mentioning Akrura Tirtha again. I tried to go to Akrura Tirtha once with one godbrother, and it became quite an adventure. Krishna apparently didn't want us to go there because we ended up going somewhere else.
Jednom sam ja pokušao se jednim mojim bratom po Bogu da odem do Akrura Tirthe, ali ispala je velika avantura i izgleda da Krishna nije želeo da idemo tamo.
We were asking different people which way to Akrura Tirtha. Everyone was telling us something else.
Pitali smo razne ljude kako da stignemo do Akrura Tirthe i svi bi nam rekli nešto različito.
From Akrura Tirtha, Lord Chaitanya went to Vrindavan, the area which has now become a town of, someone has said, around 30,000 people. It's probably much more than that now.
Sa Akrura Tirthe Gospod Chaitanya ide u Vrindavan, koji je sad grad sa, neki kažu, 30.000 ljudi, ali čini se da je puno više.
And on the north side of Vrindavan, Yamuna River wraps around. So on the north side of Vrindavan is an area called Kaliyadaha.
Na severu strane Vrindavana reka Yamuna se, what exactly does it mean wraps around?
Vyuga.
Vyuga. And then what? I forgot. I'm sorry.
He went to a place called Kaliyadaha.
Otišao na mjesto zvano Kaliyadaha.
Kaliyadaha was a lake, something like a lake, which was extending out from Yamuna River.
Kaliyadaha je bilo nešto kao jezero koje je nastalo iz reke Yamuna.
This, of course, is where Lord Krishna's pastimes with Kaliya takes place.
Naravno, to je mjesto gdje se odvija zabava Krishne sa Kalijom.
And then Krishnadas mentions he went from there to a place called Prashkandana.
I Krishnadas spominje da onda on ode za mjesto zvano Prashkandana,
Dvadashaditya,
which
is a small hill which is right next to the Madan Mohan temple, which was not yet there.
Malo brdo odmah do hrama Madana Mohana koji još nije bio tamo.
And then to Keshi Tirtha, which is now known as Keshi Ghat.
I onda do Keshi Tirthe, koje je sada poznato kao Keshi Ghat.
And near Keshi Ghat is an area called Rasastali.
A do Keshi Ghata je mjesto poznato, odnosno područje poznato kao Rasastali.
Rasastali is the place where Radha and Krishna and the gopis have their rasa dance.
Rasastali je mjesto gdje Radha, Krishna i gopije imaju svoj rasa ples.
So what happens there, Krishnadas says, Rasastali daki premi murchita hoila. There Lord Chaitanya fell unconscious.
Šta se tamo dešava? Gospod Chaitanya je pao u nesvest.
Pao?
U nesvest.
So we hear about Lord Chaitanya falling unconscious many times in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
U Chaitanya Charitamriti puno puta čujemo kako Gospod Chaitanya pada u nesvest.
And whenever it happens, we understand he's entering right into the pastimes of Krishna and his eternal associates.
Kad se to desi, on shvatamo da on zaroni pravo u zabave Krišne i njegovih najbližih pratilaca.
And we often hear the word ecstasy in English related to this kind of experience of Lord Chaitanya.
I često čujemo reč ekstaza, odnosno zanos, koji se odnosi na ove doživljaje Gospoda Chaitanya.
Sometimes the ecstasy is very external, we could say.
Ponekad je ekstaza veoma spoljašnja, mogli bi reći.
What are some of the symptoms we hear of?
Koji su neki simptomi o kojima čujemo?
Crying.
Plakanje.
Rolling on the ground.
Tresanje, kotrljanje po zemlji.
Laughing.
Smejanje.
Choking.
Gušenje.
Trembling. Perspiration.
Znojenje.
Hair standing on end.
Ježenje kože.
Yes. Turning pale. Yes. Changing color.
Menjanje boja kože.
And one of the symptoms is falling unconscious.
Jedan od simptoma je padanje u nesvest.
These are called Ashta Sattvika Bhava, the 8 physical symptoms of ecstasy.
To se zove Ashta Sattvika Bhava, 8 fizičkih simptoma ekstaze.
And what's happening at such moments is that the emotions Lord Chaitanya feels are becoming too strong, you could say, for the body to manage. It's like emotions are spilling out from the body.
I ono što bi se moglo reći da se u tom trenutku dešava je da te emocije postanu prejake da bi telo moglo se spraviti sa njima. Emocije jednostavno se prelivaju iz tela.
So we understand the body as a wonderful vehicle for the practice of devotional service.
Možemo shvatiti da je telo jedno čudesno vozilo ili nosač za predano služenje.
And sometimes if the vehicle gets moving really fast, it takes off from the ground.
Ponekad ako se vozilo kreće prebrzo, onda se odvoji od zemlje.
And that's when these symptoms are manifested.
I onda se pojavljuju simptomi.
Because the emotions can no longer be contained inside the body.
Jer emocije se ne mogu više zadržati unutar tela.
So this is what's happening to Lord Chaitanya in Rasastali.
I to se dešava Gospodu Čaitanji na Rasastali.
Chaitanya Paya Punagada Gadi Jai Hasekande Nache Pade Uchai Shaligai. When the Lord regained his senses, this is verse 73, he began to roll on the ground. He would sometimes laugh, cry, dance, and fall down. He would also chant very loudly.
Kada se Gospod osvestio, počeo se valjati po tlu. Ponekad se smejao, plakao, plesao, padao I veoma glasno pevao.
Okay, so there's that, you can say, extreme. And then there's another extreme.
I tak mogli bi reći, to je jedna krajnost, a postoji I druga krajnost.
When Lord Chaitanya becomes very peaceful.
Kada Gospod Čaitanja postaje veoma miran.
And what does he do in such a situation?
A šta on radi u takvoj situaciji?
He sits beneath a tamarind tree at a place called Tentulital. And what does he do? He chants Hare Krishna.
Sedi ispod drveta na mjestu zvanom Tentulital I šta radi? Peva Hare Krishna.
He would do this in the late mornings.
To bi radio malo kasnije ujutro.
Tentulital is in Vrindavan near the Yamuna. He would go there and he would sit under the tree and he would chant japa.
Tentulital je u Vrindavanu, blizu Yamune. On bi otišao tamo, seo ispod drveta I mantrao japa.
And then at noon he would get up and he would head back to Akrura Tirtha.
I onda u podne bi ustao I vratio se do Akrura Tirthe.
But there was a problem.
Ali bio je neki problem.
Same problem he was having when he went to Bengal. So many people now were coming.
Isti problem koji je imao kad je išao u Bengal. Toliko ljudi je dolazilo.
He was trying to get away from all these people. Now he's in Vrindavan and again big crowds of people are coming.
On se trudio da pobegne od svih tih ljudi. Sad je u Vrindavanu I opet gomila ljudi.
Therefore he would escape from Akrura Akrura Tirtha, to go to Vrindavan where it was more quiet.
Zato mora pobeći sa Akrura Tirthe I ići u Vrindavan gdje je bilo malo tiše.
But Lord Chaitanya, he has two missions, and one of them is the external mission is to spread Sankirtan. And so when he meets people in Akrura, he talks to them about chanting Hare Krishna.
Ali Gospod Čaitanja ima dve misije. Spoljašnja misija je da propoveda Sankirtan. Zato kad sretne ljude na Akrura Gatu, on im priča o pevanju Hare Krishna.
At one time, people started coming to Lord Chaitanya and saying, "We've seen Krishna."
U jednom trenutku ljudi su počeli dolaziti Gospodu Čaitanji I govoreći mu, vidjeli smo Krishnu.
What they were seeing was a light on a fishing boat in the lake, Kaliyadaha, at night. And they were thinking, oh, it is Krishna and the light from the hoods of Kaliya.
A ono što su oni vidjeli u stvari bilo svetlo sa nekog čamca ili brodića na jezeru Kaliyadaha. I oni bi mislili da je to Krishna I da je to svetlo sa glava Kalije.
Balabhadra Bhattacharya, the servant of Lord Chaitanya, was hearing all these people, and one day he said, "Oh, Mahaprabhu, can I please go and have darshan of Krishna in Kaliyadam?"
Balabhadra Bhattacharya, sluga Caitanya Mahaprabhu, je slušao sve te ljude i jednog dana je pitao gospoda, gospode, mogu li ići da vidimo Krishnu i Kaliju?
When he asked that, Lord Chaitanya slapped him.
Kada je to rekao, gospod Chaitanya ga je ošamario.
You nonsense, you fool.
Budal.
Budal. Because Lord Chaitanya knew this is just some fisherman.
Jer gospod Chaitanya je znao da je to samo neki ribar.
But there's an irony in all of this, because people are coming to see Lord Chaitanya. They're saying, "We have seen Krishna." And in fact, they were seeing Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya.
Ali tu postoji određena ironija. Ljudi dolaze tu i kažu, gospodu Chaitanya, vidjeli smo Krishnu, i oni zaista vide Krishnu u obliku gospoda Chaitanya.
One time, what Prabhupada translates as respectable gentleman, Bhavyaloka, came to see Lord Chaitanya.
Jednom Prabhupada kaže, poštovani gospodin došao da vidi gospoda Chaitanya.
And then Lord Chaitanya asked them, "So have you also, are you seeing Krishna?"
There were more than one?
Yeah.
Gentlemen. Poštovana gospoda, u stvari više ih je bilo, i onda gospodin Chaitanya njih pitao, dakle, da li ste i vi vidjeli Krishnu?
And they said, yes, we've seen, but not what these people are saying. We are seeing you as the Supreme Lord Narayana, because you are a sannyasi, sannyasi becomes Narayana. So they were giving Mayavadi philosophy.
I oni su rekli, da, vidjeli smo Krishnu, ali ne kao što mi ljudi kažu, vidjeli smo tebe, ti si Narayan, jer kada sannyasi postaje Narayan, i onda su objasnili nešto u Mayavadi filozofiji.
When Lord Chaitanya heard that, he was covering his ears and saying, "Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu, you should never, never call ordinary jiva Narayana."
Kada je gospod Chaitanya to čuo, pokrio je uši i rekao, Višnu, 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 nikad ne smijete nazivati običnu dživu Narayanom.
So here we are in Vrindavan, and even there are Mayavadis.
I eto, tu smo u Vrindavanu i čak i tamo ima Mayavadi.
But as they continue the conversation, these Bhahyaloka, these gentlemen, come to appreciate that actually, they say, "No, we know that you're actually Narayan, and you're not an ordinary jiva. You're not an ordinary sannyasi."
Ali kako se razgovor nastavlja, oni mu kažu, ne, mi znamo da ti nisi, da si ti zaista u stvari Narayan, ti nisi obična dživa, nisi obična sannyasi.
So there's this ongoing issue in the Caitanya Charitamrita, who is Lord Chaitanya?
I tako to je tema koja traje u Caitanya Charitamriti, ko je gospod Chaitanya.
Sometimes he's very much in the mood of a bhakta.
Ponekad je veoma u raspoloženju bhakte.
And he doesn't want to hear anything about him being Krishna.
I neće da čuje baš ništa u vezi toga da je on Krishna.
And sometimes he's very much in the mood of being Krishna.
A ponekad je baš u raspoloženju da je Krishna.
And he's inviting the devotees to come and worship him as Krishna.
I poziva bhakte da dođu da ga obožavaju kao Krishna.
And this is going on back and forth, and sometimes the devotees don't really quite know what to do.
Ovo ide napred nazad i ponekad bhakte ne znaju što da rade.
Sometimes, they want to feed him as the supreme personality of Godhead, and he says, "Stop talking to me about that," like that.
Ponekad ga žele nahraniti kao svevišnju božansku ličnost, on im kaže, dosta mi prisjećaj na taj način o tome.
And other time, it just goes on and on. They're never quite sure what to do.
To se samo nastavlja i oni nikad nisu sigurni tačno šta da rade.
Verses 121 and 122. Sri Bala Vritha Ara Chandala Javana Jay Tomar Ekavarat Hai Darashana Kishana Maloy Nache Haya Unmatta Acharja Haida She Tarila Jogato. If they see you just once, even women, children, old men, meat eaters, and members of the lowest caste immediately chant the holy name of Krishna, dance like madmen, and become spiritual masters capable of delivering the whole world.
Ako te žene, deca, starci, ljudi koji jedu meso ili pripadnici najniže kaste samo jednom vide, odmah pevaju Krišnino sveto ime, plešu poput ludaka i postaju duhovni učitelji sposobni da oslobode čitav svet.
So again, this circles of otherness in this verses, it's very nicely expressed how Lord Chaitanya brings them all under the shelter of the holy name.
I u ovom stihu je veoma lepo opisano u vezi tih krugova ostalih, kako je Gospod Chaitanya dovodi sve odjednom pod zakrilje svetog imena.
Now, in Mathura, there was a community of Brahmins, and I've been told by one devotee, this community actually goes way back into ancient times.
I u Maturi postoji jedna zajednica Brahmana i jedan bhakta mi je rekao da je ta zajednica iz veoma starih vremena.
It mentions that they are from Kanya Puja, from South India, and they were, it's not mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but they were worshippers of Varahadev. There are two temples of Varahadev in Mathura.
Rečeno je da su oni iz Kanja Kupđe u Južnoj Indiji i to nije spomenuto u Chaitanya Charitamriti, ali oni su obožavaoci Varahadeva i u Maturi postoje dva hrama Varaha.
And Lord Chaitanya would get invitations from these Brahmins for lunch.
Gospod Chaitanya bi dobio pozive za ručak od tih Brahmana.
That might have been nice, except Lord Chaitanya found it was very troublesome.
To bi bilo sve fino, ali Gospod Chaitanya je otkrio da je to malo mučno.
And more than him, Balabhadra Bhattacharya found it troublesome.
A to tako mučnino još više od njega doživio Balabhadra Bhattacharya.
This was one thing that Balabhadra found troublesome. There was one other thing that he also found troublesome.
To je bila jedna stvar za koju je Balabhadra smatrao da je mučna, a bila je još jedna druga stvar.
One time at Akrura Tirtha, Caitanya Mahaprabhu remembered the pastime of Akrura, having darshan of the Lord of Vaikuntha within the water of the Yamuna.
Jednog dana Gospod Chaitanya je na Akrura Tirthi imao viziju i setio se Akrure koji je imao darshan gospodara Vaikunthe u vodi. The water of what?
In the water of the Yamuna River.
U reci Yamuni.
At Akrura.
Na Akrura Ghat.
You can read about this in 10th canto.
O tome možete čitati u 10. pevanju.
So, Lord Chaitanya is remembering this, and what does he do?
Gospod Chaitanya se seća toga i šta radi?
He dives into the Yamuna.
Zaroni u Yamunu.
And he stays there.
I ostane tamo.
Under the water.
Pod vodom.
For nobody knows how long he's going to stay under the water.
I niko ne zna koliko će dugo ostati tamo.
And so the devotees have this problem that Lord Chaitanya falls into ecstasy, and sometimes his ecstasy happens in the water.
I bhakti imaju taj problem da Gospod Chaitanya padne u zanos i ponekad se taj zanos desi dok je u vodi.
Maharaj, are you doing bhajans now?
No.
Oh.
Only when you have done them.
Oh.
Maharaj, da li je zanos sa bhajanjem? Ne samo kad ti završiš.
I wasn't sure because the schedule was... Anyway, maybe a few more minutes.
Nobody's very sure.
Okay. Yes.
Niko nije baš siguran tačno o rasporedu kakav je.
Here in Serbia, we're all on a spontaneous platform.
Ovdje u Srbiji smo svi na spontanom nivou.
So, just a few more minutes, I think.
Samo još nekoliko minuta.
So yeah, Lord Chaitanya, Balabhadra, one day, he went to Lord Chaitanya and he said, Mahaprabhu, there are two problems.
Jednog dana je Balabhadra Bhattacharya otišao gospodu Čaitanji i rekao je Mahaprabhu, postoje dva problema.
He said, one problem was these crowds. He always had to deal with these crowds of people coming to see Lord Chaitanya. He was getting tired of it.
Jedan problem je to što su gomeli ljudi uvijek dolazili da vide gospoda Čaitanju i ovome se smučilo.
And the other problem was that Lord Chaitanya himself was sometimes diving into the water, and then he would have to go and rescue him.
A drugi problem je bio što gospod Čaitanja ponekad zaronio u vodu i Balabhadra morao da ide da ga spašava.
So here's Balabhadra, he's trying to peacefully, prepare lunch. He's stirring the shock in the pot, and then he hears plop. Lord Chaitanya, oh no, he's again gone into the Yamuna. Who knows when he's coming out? If I don't go and drag him out, who knows, he might drown.
Balabhadra želi samo mirno da kuva i onda meša šak u loncu i onda samo čuje plop i onda, ne, opet je zaronio Yamunu i ako ne idem da ga izvadim, ko zna kad će izaći, može će se udaviti.
Verse 141. Since I was present today, it was possible for me, Balabhadra speaking, to pull the Lord up. But if he starts to drown at Vrindavan, who will help him?
Balabhadra Bhattacharya je rekao, danas sam bio prisutan i zato sam izvukao gospoda, ali ako se počne utapati u Vrindavanu, ko će mu pomoći?
Now there is a crowd of people here, and these invitations are causing much disturbance. In addition, the Lord is always ecstatic and emotional. I do not find the situation here very good. He's speaking to Krishnadas, this Rajasthani.
On govori Krishnadas u Rajasthanu. Ovdje se okupilo mnoštvo ljudi i pozivi uzrokuju veliko uznemirenje. Pored toga, Gospod je uvijek obuzet zanosnim osjećanjima. Mislim da nije dobro da ovdje ostanem.
It would be good if we could get Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu out of Vrindavan. That is my final conclusion.
Bilo bi dobro kad bismo Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu mogli odvesti iz Vrindavana. To je moj konačni zaključak.
Then a few verses later, 153, although Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu had no desire to leave Vrindavan, he began to speak sweet words just to fulfill the desire of his devotee.
Iako Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu nije imao želju da napusti Vrindavanu, počeo je govoriti umilne reči samo da bi ispunio želju svog bhakta.
I have brought, as the next verse, you have brought me here to show me Vrindavan. I'm very much indebted to you, and I shall not be able to repay this debt. He's speaking to Balabhadra.
Doveo si me ovdje da bi mi pokazao Vrindavan. Tako si me obavezao i ne mogu ti se za to odužiti.
Whatever you desire, I must do. Wherever you take me, I shall go. The next morning, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu got up early. After taking his bath, he became ecstatic with love, knowing that he now had to leave Vrindavan.
Sve što ti želiš moram učiniti. Gdje god me želiš odvesti, ići ću. Sljedećeg jutra Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu je rano ustao. Nakon što se okupao, bio je preplavljen zanosnom ljubavlju, znajući da treba da napusti Vrindavan.
Although the Lord did not exhibit any external symptoms, his mind was filled with ecstatic love. At that time, Balabhadra Bhattacharya said, "Let us go to Mahavan, Gokula." Saying this, Balabhadra Bhattacharya made Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu sit aboard a boat. After they crossed the river, he took the Lord with him.
Mada gospodin nije ispoljio nikakve spoljašnje simptome, umu je bio ispunjen zanosnom ljubavlju. Tada je Balabhadra Bhattacharya rekao, pođimo u Mahavanu, Gokulu. Rekavši to, Balabhadra Bhattacharya je zamolio Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu da sedne u čamac. Nakon što su prešli reku, poveo je Gospoda sa sobom.
And so ends Caitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Vrindavan.
I tako završava posjeta Caitanya Mahaprabhu u Vrindavanu.
Well, we may say, if he is actually Krishna, then certainly he doesn't ever leave Vrindavan.
mogli bi reći, ako je on zaista Krishna, onda nikad ne napušta Vrindavan.
But from an external perspective, it's reported by Krishnadas. He does. He goes back, following the order of his mother. He will return to Puri.
Ali kako kaže Krishnadas Kaviraj, spoljašno gledajući, on slijedi naređenje svoje majke i vraća se u Puri.
On the way back, he's going to meet Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. He will give them instructions. They are on their way to Vrindavan, so they're crossing paths, so to speak.
Onda na putevi se ukrste Mahaprabhu i Rupa i Sanatana Goswamija. Oni idu za Vrindavan i on njima daje uputstva.
And so in this way, Lord Chaitanya is represented in Vrindavan by the Goswamis.
I tako Goswami predstavljaju Caitanya Mahaprabhu u Vrindavan.
And of course, he will spend the remainder of his life in Puri, and he will be remembering Vrindavan all of that time.
I naravno on će ostatak svog života provesti u Puriju i to čitavo vreme će se sećati Vrindavan.
Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki jai, Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Now, actually, we were planning to end with a little song.
I sad smo planirali da ovo završimo malom pesmom.
Where is Mahajala?
Gdje je Mahajala?
There you are. And Mahajala is the expert of singing this song.
Mahajala je ekspert za pevanje ove pesme.
And we have this song, it's by Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
It's the
Traditional Bengal song. Bangladeshi song.
Tradicionalna pesma iz Bangladeša.
And the words of the song are going to be projected on the screen, which means if you want to see, then we're all going to have to move around this way.
A reči te pesme, tekst pesme će biti projektiran na ovo platno i ako želite da ga vidite, bolje da se ovako okrenete.
And actually, I need a harmonium.
Treba ćete harmoniju.
And a microphone.
Dule dule gora chan, hare gunagan. Dule dule gora chan, hare gunagan. Dule dule gora chan, hare gunagan.
Hare
Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Gaur